gentlemen, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for this devotional. Today we are going to be in Daniel chapter 11. I'm going to read verse 21 to kick us off here. Here it is. It says, "In his place shall arise a contemptible person." That's important, this contemptible person. "To whom royal majesty has not been given. He shall come in without warning and obtain the kingdom by flatteries." So, remember, the angel Gabriel is explaining to Daniel all these future events. And he's been detailing a vision that Daniel was given way back in chapter 8. And right here in verses 21 all the way down through 35, we hit the apex of the vision. We are going to discover who that little horn was in the vision. Now, some of you probably remember that descriptor way back from chapter 8, verse 9, which read something like this: "Out of one of them came a little horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land, which is Israel." So basically, everything that Gabriel has told Daniel in the last 20 verses has been a preface to this moment in the text. Because we today know that the little horn is a man named Antiochus IV Epiphanes of Syria. And this man was a terror. He profoundly affected Israel for years. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all of 21 down through 27, and I'm going to fill the text in with some color commentary. So if you're reading the devotional today, you might also want to listen to the text, because I'm just going to fill it in. It begins in verse 21. Again, I'll reread it. It says, "In his place shall arise a contemptible person." That's the little horn. That's Antiochus IV Epiphanes. "To whom royal majesty has not been given." In other words, he wasn't next in line. There was another guy who I'm not going to mention just to keep you from being confused by too many names, but he was essentially in Rome at the time. "Now he," that's Antiochus IV, "shall come in without warning and obtain the kingdom by flatteries." So he's wooing people into his leadership. "Armies shall be utterly swept away before him and broken." In other words, he's going to be swift and great and mighty. "Even the prince of the covenant." Now, this is a reference to Ptolemy VI of Egypt. Okay, remember we have this tension between the north and the south. So it's a tension between Antiochus here and Ptolemy VI. And from the time that an alliance is made with him, so there's an alliance made between Antiochus IV and Ptolemy VI, he shall act deceitfully, all right? And he shall become strong with a small people. Without warning, he shall come into the richest part of the provinces, and he shall do what neither his fathers nor his fathers' fathers have done, scattering among them plunder and spoil and goods. Basically, he's paying for his loyalty. He's using wealth to his advantage. "He shall devise plans against strongholds, but only for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his heart against the king of the south with a great army." That's Ptolemy VI again. "And the king of the south shall wage war with an exceedingly great and mighty army." Now, we know that Ptolemy VI had an incredible army, but it says, "He shall not stand, for his plots shall be devised against him." In other words, Antiochus IV is going to out-strategize him. "Even those who eat his food shall break him." In other words, Ptolemy VI is going to have alliances with an inward group, and this means that people at his table are going to betray him. "His army shall be swept away," which did happen, "and many shall fall down slain." As for the two kings, so now it's referencing two kings here. They are Antiochus IV from Syria, remember him, and he's the little horn, and then Ptolemy VI from the south, who is now imprisoned in his land. These two kings, their hearts shall be bent on doing evil. They shall speak lies at the same table. In other words, now Ptolemy VI, who is a prisoner of Antiochus, they're going to sit at the table together, and they're going to plot and they're going to plan. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to plot out the new king of Egypt. This is Ptolemy VII, who has taken power, but they're going to plot at the table, speaking lies, but to no avail, for the end is yet to be, at the time appointed. Man, this is great stuff. So there's some incredible history here. But remember, it's a prophecy told around the late 530s BC, and Antiochus IV reigned from 174 to 154 BC. So this right here in this tiny little text is a detailed prophecy told 350 years before the event in incredible, incredible detail. Now, do something with that if you're a liberal theologian. I mean, seriously. But for our application today, we read here about this little horn and all the details of his persecution, of his plotting, of his planning, and his positioning. Yet we are affirmed in that last verse I read that these two evil kings of the north and the south shall speak lies at the same table, but to no avail, for the end is yet to be at the time appointed. You know what Gabriel's doing here? He is reminding Daniel that all the persecution, the plotting, and all the planning, and all the positioning of evil leaders, in the end, just doesn't matter, because there's another coming king who's going to reign supreme. And fellas, Daniel needs to hear that. And guess what? So do we. So as we enter an election cycle, don't put your faith in a politician who will only plot and plan and position for their own selfish wants and desires. Put your trust in King Jesus. Vote Jesus. And in the end, know this: he reigns supreme. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I pray this has blessed you. If it has, bless someone else with it. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow.